Day 2, we're going to look at solving systems by substitution. So if you recall, a system is two or more equations, and a solution is where the two equations cross or intersect each other. So here's the solution to the system of equations. We would say 2, 2 is a solution of this set of equations. So we're looking for where two or more lines cross. There are three methods that we know for solving a system, and we looked at the first one yesterday. It is graphing. For graphing, you get both in the form y equals, and then you can use technology to solve or do it by hand. Today we're going to look at substitution. And the last method we'll look at tomorrow is elimination. Okay, so these are the steps for substitution, which we are going to do in three word problems, and then we'll look at a few more. So I'm going to skip this part right here. We'll come back to that. We're going to start with yesterday's example. So if you recall, we looked at cows and chickens and how many of each that Farmer Joe had. And we called X chickens, the number of chickens, Y the number of cows, and we knew that altogether they had 37 heads and 122 legs. And so we came up with two equations. The first was for heads, X plus Y equals 37. And then we looked at the number of legs. We knew that chickens had 2 legs each, cows had 4 legs each, and altogether they had 122. So this is our system of equations. Yesterday we solved by graphing. We got y by itself, and we graphed and found the point of intersection. But for substitution, we're going to get a letter by itself first. We know how to get y by itself. We've done that a lot. Let's get x by itself. It doesn't actually matter, but let's get x by itself. We'll subtract y from each side, and we'll get x equals 37 minus y. Okay, so there's the first step, get a letter by itself. And so we'll say X is Miss Bayesian. And let's say Miss Bayesian doesn't want to be here, so she's going to hire a sub. And here's the sub, also equal because it's still a teacher. That sub is 37 minus X. So let's replace, in the second equation, we're going to replace Miss Bayesian, the X, with the sub, the 37 minus Y. So here's what it looks like, 2. Instead of Miss Bayesian, we'll put in the sub, 37 minus Y plus 4Y equals 122. Okay, now we have one equation with one variable, and we can solve this. So let's distribute. We'll get 74 minus 2y, and then we have our plus 4y equals 122. We'll combine like terms. We get 74 plus 2y equals 122. We'll subtract 74 from each side. So we get 2y equals 48. And then we will divide by 2. So this algebra part you should feel comfortable doing, solving. And so we get y equals 24, and that was cows. And we're only halfway done. Again, we're looking for a point of intersection. We need the number of chickens, but also we need that x value if this was a graph. So to do that, let's go back to this equation right here. And we know that y is 24. There's 24 cows. So let's plug in. So we have x equals 37 minus, and instead of y, we'll substitute in the 24. So we have x equals 13, and again, that was the number of chickens. So 13 chickens, 24 cows. We can write our answer as an ordered pair because remember, if we were to graph, it's an ordered pair, 13, 24. Okay, so there's an example of substitution. You plug in, solve, plug in again, solve. All right, let's look at the next example. The sum of two numbers is 52, and the difference is 38. What are the two numbers? So again, let's just say our two numbers are x and y, and the sum is 52. The difference is 38. So here we have x plus y equals 52, but x minus y equals 38. So here's our system. So first step, get x or y by itself. Doesn't matter which one. So let's just get, I'll do this one. Let's just get y by itself. I'll just choose one. So y equals 52 minus x. Okay, so again, y is like Miss Bayesian. 52 minus x is like the sub. We're going to sub it in. And we're going to sub it in right here. So let's write x minus. And instead of y, we're going to plug in our 52 minus x. And that equals 38. And we are going to distribute. What do we distribute? Well, there's an invisible -1 here. So we'll distribute that. And we'll get x. And -1 times -52, or -1 times 52 is -52. And then we have a negative 1 times a negative x is a positive x, and that equals 38. Let's combine like terms. We got 2x minus 52 equals 38. We'll solve. We'll add 52 to each side. So we get 2x equals 90. And then we will divide by 2. And so we get x equals 45. All right, so one of our numbers is 45, but we need the other. So how do we find it? We plug into any equation that we had above. So since in this equation y is by itself, I'm going to plug into this one. It's the easiest one to plug into. So we would get y equals 52 minus 45. Doesn't like that. And so we get y equals 7. And so the two numbers that add to 52 that have a difference of 38, it'd be 45 and 7. I'll just write that as an ordered pair. Okay, let's go over one more and then we'll do some just straight up substitution problems. This is our phone plan problem. If you recall, we can lease that phone but pay $96,667 per month, or we can buy the phone from Apple for $1,000 and pay the $55 per month. Okay, again, we can substitute. This is what y equals, so we're going to plug it in for y. So we get 96.667 equals 1,000 plus 55x. I forgot my x here. All right, so you substitute in. Where are they equal is essentially what you're solving for. All right, let's solve. We'll subtract 55 from each side. 55x, I should say. And so we will get 41.667x equals 1,000. We'll divide each side by 41.667. And then we will get our answer. So x is about 24 months, which we got yesterday by graphing. All right, so we still need the cost at 24 months. So you can plug into either equation. I'll just plug into the top one because it's shorter. So we have y equals 96.667 times, I don't have enough room here, so let's write that again. So y equals 96.667 times 24. And we get the cost, which is $2,320. So at 24 months, 2 years, the cost will be $2,320. So we can write that as an ordered pair. That looks like this. All right, let's try a few more substitutions. So here's another example. Here y is by itself, so that tells us what to plug in. So we get negative 5x minus 5 and use parentheses. So we get 15 plus 8x equals negative 30. All right, let's distribute, but only distribute to after the parentheses. So we get negative 5x and distribute. So this would be plus or minus 75 minus 40x, and that would equal negative 30. Okay, let's combine like terms. So we would have negative 45x minus 75 equals negative 30. We solve that, add 75 to each side. So we get negative 45x equals 45. Divide by negative 45. So you get x equals negative 1. All right, we're halfway done. Remember, we want the point of intersection. So we're going to plug back into either equation. It's going to make sense to plug into the top one, I think. So we have, this is shorter, y equals 15 plus 8 times negative 1. And so that would give us 7. So these two lines do cross, and they cross at the point negative 1, 7. All right, let's try another one. Let's just do this one. All right, so this one we have to get x by itself, or a letter by itself. X is easiest. So to do that, we can subtract 3y from each side. So x equals 1 minus 3y. All right, let's substitute this in for x. So here's what it looks like. Negative 3, and we're going to plug in 1 minus 3y instead of x, minus 3y equals negative 15. We're going to distribute. We get negative 3 plus 9y minus 3y equals negative 15. We'll combine like terms. Negative 3 plus 6y equals negative 15. Add 3 to each side. All right, 6y equals negative 12. Divide by 6. So x is negative 2. Remember, we're only halfway done. We want the point of intersection. So you're going to plug into one of the equations. I'm just going to plug into this one right here. And we know that y, or x, is negative 2. I put x, but it should be y. I apologize. So this should be y. All right, so y is negative 2. Let's plug in right here. So x equals 1 minus 3 times negative 2. So that would be 1 plus 6. So x is 7. So these 2 points cross, and they cross at the point 7, negative 2. Okay, let's do one more. Let's again get y by itself. So we have y equals negative 3x plus 5. So that would be if we added 5 to each side. All right, let's plug this in for y right here. So we get 5x minus 4. And we're going to plug in negative 3x plus 5. And that equals negative 3. Okay, let's distribute. So we get 5x. And then a negative times a negative is a positive, so plus 12x minus 20, if we distribute, equals negative 3. And then we'll combine like terms. So we have 17x minus 20 equals negative 3. We'll add 20 to each side. So we get 17x equals 17. Divide by 17. So x equals 1. So now to solve for y, pick any equation. This is going to be the easiest. So y equals negative 3 times 1 plus 5, which would give us 2. So these two lines cross at 1, 2.